So I always like to, ask the question is, I think that we're a lot of things to a lot of different people, but I always want to hear from our investors and partners, what did you find that Capital RX was really addressing that was the most important, or certain elements that you felt that were critical in our model that the healthcare industry really needs?
Yeah, it's a great question. Because for many years I had been studying the PBM market and found myself making charts of the supply chain and trying to describe the market to my partners, and some of whom are focused on healthcare, some are not. And looking at sort of the incumbent players in the space, I realized that I got to a point where I couldn't stare my partners in the face and say, here's how all the dollars flow. This is, who's contributing what from a innovation perspective, from a value add perspective, and then be able to correlate the dollars that were kind of associated with those things in a really clear way. And how does this, at the end of the day, benefit the end consumer from a cost of care perspective and from an consumer experience perspective? And so what was so important for me, and why after our first Zoom call, because this was the height of COVID that we first connected, why I knew I wanted to partner with you and your team is because I could really clearly describe the technology innovation that you were bringing to a market that had not innovated from a technology perspective arguably ever, why you were very focused on transparency and having every stakeholder really clearly understand the supply chain and the pricing of drugs, and then really focused on the experience for the consumer. How is, whether it's a commercial life or Medicare or Medicaid person, how are they going to be better off as a result of the innovation that you were bringing to the industry? And so all of those things were really critical for us as we think about A, our health assurance thesis, but then B, responsible innovation. Responsible innovation is a really important pillar for our firm. And I just felt so excited that I saw a company that actually was innovating in a really responsible way and bringing much needed information and data to a relatively historically stagnant market.